Well, this is probably gonna be a weird, really weird rant. Um, I know probably most of the rants that I go on, people probably would say are weird, and I guess I'm a weird person. I guess I just, after enough time, I just have to accept that I was just born different than many people. So obviously, there's gonna be distinct differences with things, and that could be a number of things. That's just how life is. But basically what this rant is about is just me kind of ranting about some things that are basically um I would say there's probably psychological, and to me there's certain things that I don't really necessarily understand, but at times I almost wonder if like maybe some people have some of the same feelings or experience uh some of the same things. Like I don't know, but what I was gonna say too was I already know that probably half of the things I say there's gonna be someone who's gonna have a very negative thought about it. So I guess I really shouldn't even care, you know, because I can already see someone saying, what is this guy like? What is this guy, some type of freak or something?" And they're probably gonna misunderstand what I say or blow the words out of proportion, or even to some degree make it sound like it's some type of sexual perversion thing or something that I'm talking about or whatever. So let me get into it. So basically, I'll start with when I was very, very young. Like a lot of other children, I had like a very intense fascination with almost anything reptile. Like it was always dinosaurs. Um, on the internet now they have all this stuff about like reptilians and all this stuff, reptilian beings and reptilian races of extraterrestrials. And I didn't know anything about any of that stuff when I was a kid. It's just by sight, the sight of like a depiction of something like that was just fascinating. And I mean, I would even say sometimes to a small degree maybe it would be somewhat frightening in a way, but most of it was just like indescribable feeling of like awestruckness. Like you're just kind of just staring at something and you just are fascinated about everything about it, and you can't really put your finger on why you are. You just know that you are. And one of the things I don't know why it was, but the scales would always get me for some reason. Like I would just be fascinated on how, like, you look at your body, and like a person's skin looks like. It's not really much, nothing really special. It's not that it's any negative, but it's nothing really, it's nothing really special that's gonna make you just like stare at it, and you're just like almost almost entranced because you it's like you're almost like drawn to it or something, or you just can't stop looking at it. um so I always had the fascination with the scales for some reason, and I was very perceptive on things I'd see, and also the coloring on some of these depictions of these like dinosaurs and lizards and beings. They always have like spots, or they have like stripes and stuff like that. And a lot, they always have like spiny protrusions in places, like weird little spines or horns or spikes or something. In different areas. That's always a thing. In like sci-fi. My parents, they used to watch like Star Trek, like most people do, and when I was born, I was born in '88, so by the time I was actually a little older and more observant, as like a child and toddler, and older than a toddler, all the crazy shit was out, man. Like all the sci-fi movies were out, it was everything was about some creature or something. In reality, obviously there was people who know. Obviously, there was real life interactions and occurrences going on with beings and things. But in Hollywood, it was just rampant. Like it was always a creature this, creature that. All the action figures, anthropomorphic creature this, creature that. But as I got to be older, though, then I really started seeing online the clear evidence of like people having real encounters with beings, and ain't nothing really changed. It was like the same fascination with the things. But I noticed the weirdest thing, which is I know someone's gonna say, I already can hear someone, they're gonna say, oh, you're probably just it's probably just a sex fetish, like you're sexually attracted to these things, or you're sexually attracted to lizards or something. No, 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 no. It's not. Before you even try to say that, no, it's not that. What I'm going to try to describe is a weird thing that I can't really necessarily explain. But see, when I was a child, obviously, obviously, I did not have a sex drive. Obviously, because I was a fucking child. But I noticed as an adult, though, the weird thing was sometimes if I were to see like a picture or a depiction of a reptilian or something, not that I would get like aroused or something look at it, but the only way I would describe this is kind of like when you do get excited and you get like aroused or something, it's like you have this weird, like you can't describe how that process is. I mean, obviously a scientist could, but how like something catches your eye a certain way, and then like you have an immediate reaction, if that makes any sense. So it's not an arousal reaction, but I always get this, and it's not every single time, but it's like seldomly. Let's say if I'm looking at like pictures of like dinosaurs or reptilians or something, always at some point I'll get this jolt or something. It's like that's what I can describe. It's like kind of like a jolt at the sight of even a depiction of one of these things. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of ways someone would depict something like that, but there's just something about it. Like it's almost like I would say there's a magic to it. Like there's a it's like it has a hypnotic almost effect. Like there's the only way I can describe it is like just the when you get to a point when there's like a crossover. I always talk about this. There's always a crossover between when you cross over between what you would call, a person and then an animal, something happens. Something just. I think that's one of the reasons why these beings, like when people have encounters with these beings, there's something different that like happens to your psyche. When you really encounter um a certain type of being or a certain level of being, something just happens. And I notice, just the thing is when I was a child, I really wasn't as perceptive of like what's going on and like what I'm experiencing when I see things. But now I always know, I can easily recognize it, like when I see one of these things depicted, because I'm not saying I don't see them. I don't see. I know people have seen them, but obviously, if you do your research, you look online, people will talk about encountering these things. I have not encountered one, but I'm saying depictions of them get, for some reason, it like once, not once in a while, because it's pretty much all the time. I will have this weird reaction to an image of one, even if it's a depicted like drawing or something. Um, and the only way I could describe it's like a feeling of awe, or it's like a feeling of like it's like if something was just like exuding power out of itself. It's like you get this feeling of something that just has so much immense power to it, almost like if you'd say like power that's like just beyond beyond what you'd consider normal or feasible for like a person, an animal. It's like this very primal, very old power that is like it's like it's mesmerizing. It's like you're just awestruck by it, you know. And I also would say in a lot of these depictions of not even necessarily these reptilians eyes, but these so-called like, you know, gray alien, these big black eyes. I don't know what it is, but there is something very, very um it's something it's weird. At the same at one point it's kind of disturbing in a way to look at something like that, but then I get this feeling it's a very hypnotic almost feeling. It's almost like you like it's like a calming feeling. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like a feeling where at the sight of some depiction of something like that, and I could only imagine if I was to encounter one of those beings, which I know every person has a different reaction to something. It's almost like when I see the eyes, what it does to me is it if this makes any sense, it kind of puts me in a state of like that a state of blankness, like I said, mesmerized. Like you're just kind of just caught up in observing what you're looking at. But then in the same coin, I have like I feel like I can relate to something in that being. Like there's something primal and very old that and very strong that I just relate to. You know, it's almost like when you're it's like when something in some way could be kind of disturbing to you or maybe alarming, but at the same time you feel like everything's going to be okay or something, like because you feel like what you're looking at is something that has just always been there, and it's something that's just would seem unfamiliar, but at the same point there's some familiarity with it that it's almost like you feel like it's something you know has just been around, or maybe you encountered in a certain time, or maybe even like in a past life or something. You just, you know, you're kind of just caught up staring at it, and you realize that like everything can be good or bad, and but you know that like nothing could be overwhelming about the thing. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense, you know that's the feeling I get. Like it's not like you get. It's not like I feel like this is such a big thing, you know, or this is such a scary thing. No, it's more like a feeling of familiarity. Like it's just kind of, if it makes it would sound crazy, but I would dare say in the faces of people, I feel more, what's the word? There's more uncertainty there, you know, if that makes any sense. To me, when I look in the eyes of another person, there's so much more uncertainty, fear, or what's the word I'm looking for? Just uncertainty. Like you don't know what to expect from a person. Um, and people seem to, like I said, people to me always give me a very invasive, very what's the word I'm looking for? Very uncomfortable type of feeling, you know? Like obviously it's not that I dislike everyone, because there are some people I do like. But I would say, you know, there's just something about people that is very unsettling, you know. Whereas it's funny because I don't know how I would actually react if I were to see one of these things, but I know all my life is what I'm trying to say is depictions of them. To me, when I look at it, it's really the opposite of it's the opposite. It's like more of a calm type of thing. It's like when you look at like something like a tree. You know, you don't really think much when you look at a tree. I mean, I'm not saying the awestruck part is different, because a tree doesn't gonna make me feel awestruck. But I mean, it's the calmness of a tree. Like you just look at a tree and it's a tree, you know, like you know what I mean? Or it's kind of like when you know, you grew up with like dogs or something, you just look at it, you know, you look at a dog's eyes and a dog is looking back at you, you just kind of look like it's a dog, you know, you just, you know, you don't really I don't know, you know, I would dare say on the same coin, there's something very shady about about people. There's something about people, man, about human beings, about other human beings. Just like, you know, like almost like I'll give you an example of what I mean. I almost feel like if I knew that something was really evil and it was not a person, I knew like that you know, I was in some serious trouble and there's no way I could get out of the situation. I feel like the trauma would be more acceptable if it was from something that was outside myself. But I feel like if it was another person, it would just be so traumatic. You know what I mean? Like, people just disgust me. I just have to keep it real. Like, people, and maybe that's part of what this stems from, is the fact that psychologically, people just really disgust me and off put me, and I really have a disdain for other human beings, you know, and unless I like them, you know, but just in general, you know, that's what I'm really trying to get at. So it's just another thing where I'm talking on this because I know there has to be someone else that's had like a similar experience or had something like this going on their whole life, and always just wondered like psychologically, like what is it, you know, or like what is it that makes some of us feel a certain way or have a certain weird reaction to just like the sight or thought of something, and then someone else something completely different. And I also want to talk about how like you know, in my mind the funny thing is I look at it like this, man. um I don't really see, you know, you hear about people flipping out about all this alien stuff, like, you know, you hear people talk about like this, if they were to find this out, there'd be mass panic and there'd be all this, and what I really don't really understand about it all is like I don't see what's so fucking weird about um like just another type of person, you know, because that's what I kind of see it as. I see it like, and I'm not talking about like someone's sexual preference or something, because that can be a little bit different, and that could potentially really be triggering or alarming to someone. Like that's something that someone would have to take time. And I can speak from personal experience. Me, it's taken me time to get more used to people having weird ass sexual preferences and things. You know, and I've come to the conclusion that like that's just who they are. And then also, it doesn't mean what maybe you think it means. It doesn't mean that they want you to be a part of their lifestyle, or it doesn't mean anything really. It just means that's just the way they are, and they're just another person who happens to be different than you in some type of way. But um also on the same coin, there are people who are just scumbags regardless of what their preference of anything is. And then there's also beings that are the same way. They're just scumbag dirt. You know, they're complete scum, and that's just the way they are. You know, but then the concept in my mind of of simply fearing something simply because it is different, like racially and genetically different, that to me that makes no fucking sense in like by any means. You know, that's like me being afraid of a dog. You know, like why the fuck would I be scared of a dog? You know, if a dog is attacking me, then I'll just, you know, fight back in hope that I survive, in hope that the damage isn't too fucking bad. You know, it's like when you get into a fight with something, you get into a fight with something. But as long as something is just like minding its own business, I don't see what the huge alarm is, you know? I don't see. That's one thing that I'd never understood either. Like, why would someone be so freaked out about something for just existing? You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's one thing I don't really get. You know, like, because if you, I put it like this: if you can live with people and you don't straight up murder somebody, then you could live with any damn thing. That's how I see it. If you can live with people and you can tolerate people, then how could you not tolerate anything else? Like, what could be worse than a person? You know, maybe I'm pretty sure there are things out there worse than people, but that's my personal point of view. Is people are disgusting. You know, I mean completely disgusting. Like, I gotta keep it real. There have been times where I've just like lost my damn mind off of things that people have done, said, the way they've acted, everything. Like, they just disgusted me to like my core. You know what I mean? Like, they made me want to commit suicide many times. Made me just want to leave Earth. Period. You know. So I don't really get the point of like why someone would flip out about something just because, simply because, or have such psychological trauma over something because of a just like genetic difference. Like, you have no history with this thing, you don't know anything about it, but you're just gonna just freak out because, like, I don't know about that, man. You know, I mean, that's like some type of primal fear that I've only remember experiencing as a very young child. Like seeing something like, I don't know, a roach or a centipede or something. Very being very very young, and just like almost flipping out. Like, but then, I mean, come on, you got to realize like what's the, there's levels of things. Like, what's the real danger? Like, what is it really? What is it doing? Is it targeting you? Is it what's um so I don't know. And then there's these people who get mad, like they get furious because they some part of them knows these things exist in reality, and then like they hate the fact that it exists for some reason, and they just can't handle the fact of something else existing that's like, you know strange to them, or that they would have to learn to accept the existence of something. So that's my rant. And I really don't care what someone thinks of this, because motherfuckers ain't shit anyway. That's the real truth. You ain't shit regardless. Like, there's some people who I hold very high, but then for the most part, most people ain't shit anyway. So you think what you want, man. But that's my rant. And have a good day or evening or whatever.